Many parents think that when kids go online, the worst thing they'll do is argue, post comments, or maybe join some fan fights. Just a bit of name-calling, some rumors, nothing too serious, right? But recent incidents in China are proving otherwise. More and more teenagers are getting involved in extremely harmful online behavior, like doxing ordinary people. Doxing means exposing someone's personal information, their photos, home address, school, and even ID number, without consent, and sharing it publicly online. The victims are often just ordinary people, a random netizen, a student, a teacher. Some lose their jobs. Some develop anxiety or depression. Some simply disappear from social media altogether. And the people who expose them? It's hard to believe, but it is a truth that could be just 13 or 14 years old. Kids who are supposed to be learning about respect and empathy in school. So today, we're asking, when minors have learned to weaponize the internet, what exactly is missing from our education system? Last year, one case shocked Chinese social media. A pregnant woman posted a comment questioning K-pop idol Jang Wonyoung's travel schedule. Within hours, she was labeled a hater by some fans. And her private information, including her photo, home address, and even details about her unborn child, were leaked online. Not only was this pregnant woman subjected to online abuse and harassment, but even her family members, supporters who offered assistance, and others were also targeted with doxing. The most shocking part is that the person who initiated this doxing was a 13-year-old girl, an ordinary middle school student. And then, the users who initiated the doxing event were speculated by the media and netizens to be the daughter of Xie Guangjuan, who is the vice president of Baidu. Finally, Baidu's vice president Xie Guangjuan publicly stated that parents have failed in their responsibility in educating their children and apologized for his daughter's actions. When asked why, she said, "I just wanted to defend my idol." This single sentence reveals something much deeper. In a world driven by algorithms, emotions, and online fan culture, teenagers are learning that violence can feel like justice. And no one is teaching them that what they're doing is actually harm. There are three major educational gaps behind this phenomenon. First, schools only teach digital skills, not digital ethics. In many schools in China, internet safety still means avoiding scams or limiting screen time. But students rarely learn what privacy really means, or what consent looks like online. They know how to use algorithms to get more views. But they've never been taught how algorithms manipulate emotions. As a result, they learn that anger gets attention, and exposure gets likes. That's a very dangerous moral lesson. Second, parents focus on control, not communication. Most parents worry about how long their kids spend online. But they don't ask what their kids are doing or how they see the world through those screens. When adults never talk to children about empathy, privacy, or online accountability, teenagers are left to find their own moral compass. And they often learn it from the loudest voices online. Third, the culture rewards outrage. The broader media environment in China often uses exposure, calling out, and justice actions to announce something. But for a 13-year-old, it's almost impossible to tell the difference between criticizing an idea and destroying a person. Also, Chinese online spaces are very community-driven, whether it's fandoms, class groups, or online forums. The sense of belonging to a group can be incredibly strong, especially for young people who might feel invisible in real life. So, when that group decides to punish someone, maybe a stranger who made a comment, individuals follow along to prove their loyalty. What happens if education doesn't intervene? Let's imagine what happens if education continues to stay silent. If teachers keep saying that's just an online issue, and parents keep saying they'll grow out of it. The truth is, they won't just grow out of it. They'll grow into it. The consequences will go far beyond online arguments. The first consequence is the normalization of digital violence. When doxing or harassment becomes entertainment, young people start believing that public humiliation is an acceptable form of justice. Over time, this erodes empathy, not just online, but in real life. Students may begin to treat real people as disposable characters in an online drama. The second risk is moral numbness. Imagine a generation that's grown up equating likes with justice and exposure with truth. They won't know how to feel. Without emotional education, they lose the ability to understand that behind every account is a real person. That's not just a digital issue, but it's a civic and psychological crisis. Third, if schools don't step in, we face a collapse of trust in education itself. When victims are students, and perpetrators are students too. And schools simply say this happened online, not on campus. What message does that send? It tells young people that morality ends where the Wi-Fi begins. That's how we lose the meaning of education, not as a system of knowledge, but as a system of values. The teenagers' doxing of ordinary people isn't an isolated incident. It's a mirror reflecting the vacuum of education in our digital age. We've taught young people how to master technology, but not how to be ethical, empathetic, and responsible digital citizens. Behind every viral exposure is both a victim's fear and a child's ignorance. That gap between knowledge and empathy is exactly where education must step in. Because in the age of new media, the boundary of education is the boundary of humanity.